This is from Jason OTC Twitter, and let's take a look. It's a draft retention chart. So the x-axis, expected draft picks on the roster. The y-axis is actual draft picks on the roster. And when you look at it, the Chiefs are a little bit ahead of the Browns, and the Browns are kind of second as far as retaining draft picks. Now, I suppose you could make the case it's because they're being patient with their young players, but it also shows a little bit of development, which for a number of years you wanted to see from this franchise.
Yeah, and I mean, they still need some of their young guys to really step up and prove that they are going to be the players the Browns believe they can be. Some of those guys include, Jacob Phillips, Jordan Elliott, Grant Delpit. These are some guys that they want to see really pop. JOK was starting to come on strong before he suffered a knee injury. So there are plenty of players on this team, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that they have a potential that they can still reach. And I think some of them still will. A few of them got off to slower starts in the first half of the season, but I think that's in part because they were first-time starters, first-time full-time starters. And it was taking them a while to sort of grow into their roles, but I think they still will do that. So, so I think they've done a nice job so far. Again, the jury is still out on a number of guys, but the future looks pretty bright.
The other thing is, through the first, 8 games, there have been a fair amount of key guys that have missed time for the Browns. When you think about both of their middle linebackers, their top 2 middle linebackers, Anthony Walker, Jacob Phillips. Myles Garrett has missed a couple of games. Jadeveon Clowney has missed a couple of games. The guy that they deem as their franchise quarterback, Deshaun Watson, hasn't played. Now, everybody has injuries, but they've had injuries at some key spots.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, offensively, they've been okay. So that hasn't been too bad. Now they've got David out for a little bit. They had Wyatt Teller out for a little bit. But for the most part, they've been intact on offense, again, especially, except for Deshaun being out this whole time, which everybody knew was going to happen. It's on the defensive side of the ball where I feel like they've had a lack of continuity. Even Denzel Ward, I felt like he got off to a slower start, in part because he was out with a hamstring injury for most of training camp. And now, he's missed 3 games with a concussion, and he has to try to hit the ground running against 2 of the best receivers in the NFL and the fastest receivers in the NFL. Same thing with Greg Newsome, missed a lot of time in training camp. And then, as you mentioned, Anthony Walker out for the season, Jacob Phillips out for the season, Myles Garrett flips his car, Jadeveon Clowney missed 3 or 4 games. So they just haven't had that, full complement on defense for most of the season. But I think they're rounding into shape now. I think Myles is on a mission to finish strong, and Jadeveon's back feeling better. I think they're going to be okay on that side of the ball.